Good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Ox, here on the show is Linda and GB. How we doing? Linda, how we doing, guys?
Evening, GB. Evening, Ox, Ger. Evening, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well.
Good evening, Ox, and good evening, Linda. Really happy to be back on the night.
Yes, I believe you'll get some homework you've got to do later on, GB.
It's looking that way already, mate. Looking that way already.
Right, Linda, you got a battle fever on?
Oh, yes. It's you're getting there, aren't you? You're just thinking, hearing all the chat today, the pressers, everything else, all the build-up. And yeah, can't wait for the game tomorrow night, Ox. I mean, this is what the Champions League's all about, isn't it?
First time I've ever played Liverpool in a competitive game at Ibrox. Yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely. With the history of the both clubs, and it is quite incredible that we've never faced them in, as you say, in a competitive match. But a real chance tomorrow night to get an account open, Docs, isn't it?
Listen, if the Rangers turn up against the home games at the back end of last year, we will make a good account of ourselves, GB, yeah?
Oh, aye, Ox. I mean, the weekends gave us probably right good confidence. It's cemented that right side a wee bit for me. So, again, knowing that we've got that kind of sorted out a good bit, Ox, it's gone into this Liverpool game. It's fit to the flare and let's go after them, mate. Let's go for it.
Here. I'd rather do it and have a go, Linda, and see where it takes us, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're not saying sort of go hell for leather as such, Ox, but we definitely need to try and attack a bit more than we did last week. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. And, you know, be a wee bit sort of a clever when we do it, but we certainly do need to attack more. I'd love to see us get a goal, Ox, and if we could score first, you just never know. Ibrox will be absolutely rocking.
Yeah. I just hope we get a goal, hope we get a first goal for the fans, and we'll see where it takes us, GB. But we're no favourites. The bookies have got Liverpool favourites. We understand that, but recognise where we are. And I think the disappointment last week didn't come for the result. It was just to the fact that we knew we could play better, mate.
It was, Ox, and to be honest, like, there was probably a lot of criticism the way Giovanni set up the whole five at the back, but I did understand it, if you mean. But it just proved that when he made the tiny wee tweaks in the second half, just to allow a bit of pace into the team, we did trouble them. I mean, it was scary to think that we could have probably, if we took our chance, we probably could have walked away with a draw at Liverpool, and that would have been an amazing result. And let's face it, Ox, it was only really a penalty and a set piece that undone us in Liverpool. It was a hard working performance for me. As much as obviously there was things that needed vastly improved, but
on another day, Linda, let's be honest, we could have been 3 or 4 down, maybe more at half time, yeah.
Oh yeah, I do take the point that GB's making. You know, you see these games, you know, sometimes they sort of unfold, Ox. You know, one team does miss a lot of chances. The goalie has an absolute brilliant game, and then they can maybe nick a draw. But yeah, we were quite sort of fortunate to only be the 2 goals behind. But as GB said, I would love us to have had a go slightly earlier in the game, maybe just make those changes a bit earlier, Ox, because as we rightly said, and we've covered it over the last week, you know, there was a couple of players on that park and came out even for the second half that should have been off the park. And who knows, if we'd made the changes earlier and had been a wee bit braver, we might have got ourselves in a better position, Ox.
Okay, so do we all agree that Alan McGregor has to start?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%, Ox. He's totally, see the calmness he's brought to that defence. It's gave me the look the defensive 55 season. It was, you never feared that defence, and it's just great to see, especially on Saturday there, that kind of calmness back in the defence and organisation there again. It's perfect for this game tomorrow night. Okay, so what's your back four, Linda? Are we playing with a back four for you, Linda?
Well, I tend to think it'll be a back 5 again. and I think I would just have the same back five as we had at Anfield last week. So you would have Tav, King. I think young King's done well enough to start again. Ox, Goldson, Davies and Barisic. So that would be the back five. He might change it back to the 4, but I tend to think he might stick with that back 5 formation.
My problem has always been with the back fives. Back five, when you go under pressure and you get pinned back and your defensive mids get pinned back against your back 5, you end up with 7 players with your goalkeeper there, 8, and it's very difficult to get out. That's always the downside for me, a back 5, Linda.
Yeah, I can see your point. And we did kind of struggle to get out, but the difficulty for me as well last week was we didn't have players in the midfield with enough legs. No, that sounds
it was so
pretty
obvious,
daft.
wasn't it? It was so obvious.
They've all got 2 legs each. I was just waiting for you to say that. But enough running in their legs, and I think he's going to have to change. Pace, yes, of course, pace.
Yeah, pace. You know, guys that can go. Well, you know what I think of Stephen Davis, but I think that was a mistake. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. He wouldn't start for me this week.
You know, but yeah. So what are you thinking, GB? Back 3, back 5, back 4. What are you thinking?
I mean, personally, me, I would play the back 4, Ox, especially how Saturday went, mate. But I do agree with Linda. There's a wee kind of stuff that Gio said today that linked to the kind of if he's got to go with that 5 again. But if he does, I'm like you, Ox. I would much rather see the probably extra man in midfield to help us get us up the park a bit more, because again we've proved that we can get at them. We just have to get that right formation for it.
All right, you mentioned Giovanni's press conferences. Now I think we'll maybe hear from him so we can debate how we're going to line up. Then we'll get the teams, the teams, the phone lines opened, if that's all right with you two.
Perfect, mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's hear for your gaffer, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Giovanni, what did you learn from last week's game about the approach of your team and Liverpool that you can take into this week's game?
Well, as I said many times before, it's always easier to play the second game against an opponent. Of course, we all know Liverpool really well because of all the games they play in Champions League, but also in the Premier League. So, but we played against a strong side. Last week we had, I think we have to find more moments in the game when we can be dangerous. Of course, our approach will be different tomorrow because we, as I said before, we need points to hopefully play also after the break in Europe. So, but we're still gonna play a really good side.
Squad update first, please, Giovanni. How's the squad looking?
Squad's looking good. We have no fresh injuries, no new injuries. The only one who had is a little doubt is Kamara, but all the other ones are good to go.
You mentioned that game at Anfield. Just how capable do you think your side are after watching last week of getting a result tomorrow night and keeping that hope of football after Christmas alive?
Well, I think especially at home, we have some strong performances. Not only this season, last season, but also this season. I think the game we played against Napoli was a really good one against a really strong opponent. I think we were, really in the game until the penalties and the red card, of course. But I think though that game also gave us confidence to get something out of our home games. And tomorrow for us is another chance to get points.
Good afternoon, Giovanni. We spoke on Saturday about the players beginning to get their swagger back in attack and how well they're doing going forward with chances created. But in analysing that game for the weekend, there was a lot of very good individual performances. Players seem like they're starting to get their form and their confidence back. With that said, do you think you're ideally placed tomorrow night to go and have a real good go at Liverpool and take the game to them and just basically we want a kind of Rangers performance? You think ideally with everything going on, that's you're in a good shape to do that?
Well, of course. I mean, it starts, of course, with your tactics, how you approach game, your intentions. Of course, you need players to be in form because it's. I think it's connected. The way you start games, the way you perform as a player, and especially in the league games, we are playing really well, and we need to take that form as well into the game tomorrow. Which, of course, we need to attack, but we need to defend really well because we're playing against a side who can do both. So it's going to be, I think, a very very hectic game. And as we always play at home, and I think again, the Ibrox crowd will definitely push us to another good performance.
Giovanni, you said there that it's always easier to play a team the second time around. What, if anything, new did you learn about Liverpool after the game against Anfield, and how has that affected your preparation for tomorrow?
Well, nothing really new. I think their build up they had last week was a little bit different than they used to do. So we need to we have prepared the players well. Of course, they have some injuries at the moment, so we have to see how their lineup will be. But again, as I said before, the threat they have, attackingly with the strikers, they're all like at the top of their game, world-class players. So we have to be ready for their attacks, but we also have to be able and to be brave to attack as well. And we have to do that more frequently than we did last week.
Hi, Giovanni. Obviously, you want to start every game of football well, but how important is it those opening 5 minutes or so tomorrow against this team to get the crowd into the game, to not let Liverpool settle and kind of let them know that it's not going to be an easy night for them?
Well, that's always important, because you want to start games on the front foot, and I think that's what we always did at home. Especially in games, we needed a good performance, and that's also for us the key to start the game well and make sure we keep the pressure on our opponents and work hard, as a team to create chances to score and to at moments defend as well.
Giovanni, it's been a very difficult 3 games so far. Is it important to enjoy the Champions League, and has that been possible so far?
Yeah, well, the results were, of course, not what we wanted. We knew we are going to play against good opponents, but I think we did really well against Napoli. I think that wasn't, a performance that was really bad, especially if you see their performances in Amsterdam when they beat Ajax 6-1. So it is a team who is capable in performing away from home, and I think we did really well. I think that was our best game in Europe this season, until the red card. But tomorrow we have to have the same approach, the same performance, and as well keep playing with 11 men, because in Europe against Champions League playing with 10 men it's a really difficult task. So that's also very important tomorrow. But again, we have respect for our opponents, but we want to go and continue as well in Europe after the break. So that means we have to get points in the last 3 games we play.
Giovanni, you were just talking there saying that it's not gone exactly as you wanted so far. You did play well against Napoli, but the fans are still waiting for, the big Champions League moment. Do you feel that, given it's against one of the best teams in the world and you're here at Ibrox at home, that this is the perfect game to give the fans that moment?
Right, of course it's the perfect time. It's and we're gonna work hard and to achieve what we want. And I think we are in a good moment, especially after the win in the weekend. And we analyzed the game well last week. And today we train tactically, and tomorrow we have to go out, enjoy being in the Champions League. But it has to, enjoying being there. It means also you have to get points, because otherwise, you are here to perform on the level we want. And tomorrow is another chance to do so.
Hi, Gio. If you want to be playing European football after Christmas, is tomorrow night? Do you need to take 3 points? You need to win the match.
Well, we need to get points. Yeah, ideally, of course, 3 points. I think also, we are we have to see the other results, but I think we want to be able to proceed in Europe when we play our last game at home against Ajax. So that hopefully we're in the situation where with a good result we can continue in Europe. But that means also we have to get points out of the next 2 games, because of course Ajax is already on 3 points, and you know the loss we had away, you know, it's a big difference. So we need to have points in the next coming games.
Giovanni, we've seen a difference in approach away from home compared to at home. Even last season, you take Braga, Leipzig and Napoli this year. The fans will probably be expecting a similar approach to Napoli, where you go and get in their face. Is that still possible, even though you're playing against this calibre of team?
Well, I think that's very possible. Of course, it's different when you play away from home, because you certainly after 2 big defeats in Champions League, you don't want to go to Anfield and open up all spaces for Liverpool to exploit. You want to have a good game management where you are able in the second half to be close to them and try to get something out of the game. I think we did really well, because against Ajax we were already out of the game after 25 minutes. Game was over. Napoli we did much better, and I think the second goal at Anfield, just at the time, the second hour we started, I think, really brave and good. We conceded a penalty, but of course it's possible tomorrow, because I think we have the team to do so. Against a quality side, we are capable in doing so, but we have to be really, really focused, in the transition moments, in the moments we have to defend. It takes a lot of, energy for my players to play in that way. And there are times, you have to defend, like we see Liverpool also against Arsenal. At times they both had a low block to defend. And once you're in moments where you can be dangerous, you have to be clinical and to make sure you create chances, but also score. So I think in the away game, in the end, we had 2 big chances to score, which we didn't. So those moments in Champions League are very vital to get your goals.
You have a big decision to make in attack, Giovanni. What are the respective strengths of Antonio and Alfredo? How do they differ? What are you weighing up?
Well, I mean, they're both strikers, but their strengths and their way of playing is a bit different. They're both natural goal scorers, that's for sure. So it's always for me in case to see what we need in games and who is in form, who we think is going to be the best options. But that's not only for the striker option, but also for the other 10 who are playing. So I think it's a normal process you always do in the games prior, the days prior to the game. And tomorrow we're going to start with 11 players who I think are capable in getting a good result.
Have you made your decision?
I made my decision, yeah.
Chris? How difficult is that conversation, Gio, if you have to leave Antonio out again, if that is your decision, playing so well domestically, scoring as many goals domestically? How do you rationale that with him, and how tough is that conversation to have with him?
Well, it's the way you, of course, you pick your 11. You have sometimes players you think, okay, I need a one-on-one conversation with him. Sometimes you don't, because you concentrate on the first 11. I think it's a normal process, not only for the striker position, as I said before, but also, as it was for the goalie and your defense midfield. So for me, that's no problem. It's taking the decision together with your staff and then communicate to the players and prepare them for the task ahead. Your tactics, but also what we can expect from Liverpool. And I think that's my job, and that's also a part that I like.
You talked about it being a hectic match and the importance of keeping 11 men on the field. Is that something you will directly address the team about, the importance of keeping their heads in a match like this?
Well, that's always important to make the right decision, to make sure you are focused on the game. It's going to be hectic as well, because the playing style of Liverpool is quite direct as well at times. So I also mean hectic in those moments, with long balls, with runners. They have a lot of pace. So, but I think also in a very essential part of the game is also mentally, because we have to be strong, in every moment we face, and make sure we stay with 11. That's for sure, and make sure we get stronger when the game proceeds, instead of don't get the right decisions at the right moments.
Hi, Gio. We've heard media reports earlier of possible interest in Leon King from down south. Is that just a testament to how well he's performing under yourself? And is there any chance we can see him tomorrow at all?
You will see him tomorrow. I don't heard about any interest down south. It's obviously when you performing well in Scotland, you get interest. I think Leon is a player who's developing really, really well. He played already some games last year, but we wanted to make space for him to get more minutes. And when he's taking the minutes, he's performing really well. So I'm really happy. He's only 18. He still has a lot to learn, but he's one of the players who's open for coaching, who's open to put the energy and work hard to better himself. And so I think his future is very bright, but he needs to continue and playing well, training well, and in that process we're helping him, and he's developing really well.
Last one for Lindsay.
Yeah, given the stature of the game, Gio, if you were to win tomorrow night, how would that rank in terms of personal achievement for you and this team's achievement?
Well, obviously it will be a great win for us, because we need the points. But of course, Liverpool is a team, as I said also last week. It's a team who's been 3 times in the Champions League final last 5 years. I think they have an excellent coach. They have a big squad. A squad that is very balanced. Even with the injuries they have now, they can still field a really strong side. And they're we are it's the first time we play against each other as teams, but definitely will be a great win for us when we achieve that tomorrow. So but our main focus is to get points. That's for us now very important for the remainder of the group stage and also the remainder of a European season.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
He's getting a wee bit better, Linda. He can't get his team away. Some of the questions are a wee bit naive, but they've got their job to do, yeah.
They must have a list of questions, each one of them, and then as they get asked, they must tick them off and get to the sort of dregs of their questions.
When you're last.
Aye, you would always want to be first, eh? No, I mean, obviously they did ask a lot of questions there that are on the sort of the minds of a lot of Rangers fans, in terms of like who's going to be starting. Obviously the striking position's a major talking point, Ox, isn't it? And obviously,
I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's the number 9 tomorrow night?
It's got to be Big Tony Goals for me. It's got to be Cholak, I think. Yeah.
Tony Goals.
Yes.
Don't know if I like that one. But
we'll not call him that then. We'll call him Anthony Golak then. Is
Golak.
That okay?
Golak.
The Croatian destroyer, let's call him.
Yeah, that's good too.
I think Ukraine could do with some of him. What about you, GB? Number 9, just a number 9. Who's starting?
Yeah, it's Cholak tomorrow night, 100%. Ox. He's got to get his chance.
Do you think that's what will happen, or do you think that what you would do, GB?
Both, mate. I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow night. I think he's wanting to try and take some points for this game tomorrow night, and I think the only way he's got to do that is by getting goals. And the man that's on form's getting goals.
Okay. Can you argue with that, Linda, can we?
No, absolutely, totally agree with GB. I can, you can see the argument for Alfie. We tried it last week, and albeit it was away from home, but we're playing at home, so let's play our informed striker, because he's the most likely person to put a chance away. He had a good chance at Anfield last week. He was the goalie made a good save, but that was him. He was on and he got that chance, Ox. His 2 goals on Saturday were terrific, particularly the second one. We just need to try and get ourselves up the park so that we can create these chances for him, Ox.
Fair comment. Right, so we've got the goalie, we've got the back 4/5 for you, Linda. We've got the centre forward.
I'm undecided about that, to be honest, but I'll go with the 5 anyway.
Are you sure?
Let me change my mind.
There's a pencil there with your name on it.
Right, he says we'll see King tomorrow night, and I know that could be from the bench, so I'll stick with my 5.
When he said that, I thought Charlie was coming.
Standing silhouette.
Aye.
Right, okay, you're going with the 5, GB's gone with the 4. How are you lining your midfield up in front of that 5, Linda?
I'm going with Jack, Lundstram and Kamara, if he's actually fit. I know there was there's a wee doubt over him, and I've gone with just Kent playing just off a Cholak.
Kent? Oh, big call. I get it.
Yeah.
Right,
if Matondo had played a bit better on Saturday, but I think he's probably the one that will play tomorrow, Kent.
Are you, me, Matondo, jury's still out?
Yes.
Wise woman. GB, you get 4. Yeah? How are you lining up in front of them then?
Definitely Jack Lundstram gets into the midfield. Who goes in there? Probably for the start of the game, I would say it's going to be Arfield as well in amongst that. And then up front, you're going to have Fashion, Cholak, and I agree with Linda, it's going to be Kent, just purely because Matondo didn't set it fire at the weekend again, so the left-hand side's still up for grabs for me. Maybe.
Who are you going for then?
Aye, so it's going to be Kent. Definitely, it's going to be Kent. Will get the nod, I think.
Yeah. All right, I'll be interested to see what he does. Do you think there's any chance he's playing a 4-4-1-1 tomorrow night, Linda?
Yeah, that is an option. And would the 1-1 be Kent and Cholak, or do you think there's any way that 1-1 would be Sakala and Cholak?
Well, I think Sakala's due a go. If you done it on forum, if you're really honest, you're not picking Ryan Kent, are you? On poor form. But we keep waiting and hoping, and I do think Giovanni will start him tomorrow night. But if you're picking the team on forum, GB, he ain't getting a start, is he?
No, he's not, but you've actually put a bit of doubt in, is there, Ox, about Kent, because we're talking about we're trying to get pace into the team. So he might let Matondo get the start just because he's trying to run at them for the start of the game. You know what I mean? And then, to be honest, if you're bringing Kent off the bench, it's still a great player to bring on when maybe Liverpool are lagging a wee bit. No, too much, they'll probably not be, but I mean, it's still, let's say, he's a great player to bring off the bench, form or no, you know what I mean? But I think it might, you've put the doubt there that Matondo, especially the way he performed against Liverpool, we already then know that he can actually get at their defence. But how are they lining up for you, Ox? I'm interested to see where you're going with this 4-4-1-1. Who's getting into that team?
Well, it's difficult because any of these formations, I think you've got problems. If the trouble with that 4-4 is if we get pinned back, you end up with 9 at the back, and then you've no out ball at all. Mm-hmm. So my thinking is that'll not happen. I think he'll try and play like we've done before in Europe, and it'll be a 4-3-3 and a play on the 4-3-3. Jack Lundstrom will play, or it could be Lundstrom and Sands with Jack in front of him like he did on Saturday, or it could be Jack Lundstrom with Kamara in front. And if he was picking a three, for me it would be Fashion on the right, playing in the position he done on Saturday. Colak up front on form, even though I was banging the drum for Alfie last week, it didn't work. And then I think he'd go with Ryan Kent, because I think Matondo actually played himself out the team on Saturday instead of into it. I think he'll go to the tried and trusted.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Does that make sense?
No, I like it, mate. I like it because it's reminiscent of a Europa League game for us, because it seems to be that kind of way that we're going into this game. It's a winner takes all, and we done so well when it was like that, Ox. It was like I felt we done well in the Europa League because we knew that we just had to leave it all out there. And tomorrow night is a game like that. I think when we play whether like this is Kent's on form or no, if we put him in there, he's always got that kind of danger about him that if he turns up and it's a winner takes all, then he might just get you that wonder goal or that wonder pass.
Aye, on form, I agree. You wouldn't play Ryan Kent, Linda. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know, and we do keep waiting for him to sort of, hit some sort of form. He needed to be put in the bench on Saturday. There's no way that he could have started with him. Other people had to get a chance, and albeit Matondo wasn't that much better than what Kent had been. It's an interesting one about the boy Sands, because in the team that I said that the three midfielder was Jack, Lundstrom and Kamara. If Kamara doesn't make it, I would suspect that it would be Sands that would maybe make up that three, Ox, because he is quite pacey. He's got lots of energy. He can move, so that might be the other option. And he obviously he had to fill in at centre back, but I don't think any of us think that is his best position, and we've yet to see him get a kind of sustained run in midfield, haven't we? But so that's obviously an option for him.
Aye, positive option for the boy. See him playing his natural position. GB, listen, we don't know how good he is in there. We've not seen enough of him to judge. There was encouraging signs of the way he moved and his pace and his braveness, GB, but we don't know.
No, and we wouldn't know until we try, Ox. But I do like it in the sense that he could slip into a kind of a five if it came to it like that kind of way. He can move out and in the defence, like the kind of sweeper role kind of thing. And again, he's good in the tackling, which we're going to need tomorrow night again when they're trying to pull forward. We're going to have to win the ball back, move fast, and try and get up the park as quick as possible to create chances. Because, again, as we've seen last week, we can get pegged back a good bit in the game for long periods. So we're going to need somebody brave in there to win the ball back, get it moving fast, and then hopefully, like I say, the wingers will be able to take it for there.
My problem was that I felt sometimes, Linda, last week when we get pegged back was because we made basic errors.
Yeah. I think for first and foremost, they all need to do the basics, but everybody needs to do the basics well. I mean, last week there was some people who did them better than others, but as we've rightly talked about, there were certain players that just couldn't even make a 10-yard pass. Their touch was off. We need everybody to be at the top of their game tomorrow night, Ox. We can't carry any passengers. And I'd like to think that whatever way he sets up, if somebody's not playing well, that he's not scared to make the substitution early, Ox. Because as he rightly said during the press, we need to get at least a point tomorrow night. So this is a big opportunity for us to get ourselves back into some sort of a chance of qualifying in third place. So Gio needs to be brave in that regard. That if it's not working, it doesn't matter who it is, then basically get them off and make changes.
I think you've got to use I always think you've got to use the minimum 4 subs. Understand in a tight game you keep one back, GB. but you've got a chance of using 4 subs. You've got to be sensible and use them, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think that's where King will come in, Ox, tomorrow, because Ben Davies is roughly getting round about the 60, 65 minute mark, maybe more. So I think he is kind of protecting him a bit. So it wouldn't surprise me that kind of change gets made again, where King comes in for Davies at the back tomorrow. So again, it helps protect the league games as well for us, because like I says, we are starting to get a kind of solid defence, and it still allows the team to keep a shape, really, to keep a solid shape. So I use the subs. Let's try and, like I says, do as much as we can within, like I says, the 60, 65 minute mark, and then if it's still not working, then we've got, like I says, pace hopefully coming off the bench if it is Matondo or Ken
or Morelos.
Or Alfie, aye. Yep, to be fair to him, yep. Because again, he came off the bench on Saturday and he did put that beautiful pass through for Fashion. So it's not to say there's a nice wee partnership can build up in there as well during the game tomorrow night. So it's all there, Ox. I think, like I say, it's a very much a game that winner takes all tomorrow night. And we know that if we leave it all out there, then we're going to get some sort of result at least.
All right, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right. How important is Europe to use to? Linda?
I would love us to get third place and have European football after Christmas. However, taking everything into account, the toughness of that group, the teams we're playing against, Ox, then I wouldn't be really, really disappointed if we don't qualify. I would be okay with that, and we just turn our full focus to the domestic campaign and go and get, make sure that we're still competing in the league and go and win the 2 cups as well. Just full focus on the domestic front. But as I say, if we do get through, it'll be a bonus. But for me, it's the domestic stuff that's more important. And I get the whole financial thing, etc. But just for this season, it wouldn't bother me if we just focused on the domestic campaign.
GB?
Aye, Ox, I mean, going into the Champions League when we qualified, I did actually think that we'd go in there and have a couple of results by now. But it has kind of, like I says, shown to light how hard it is in this competition. So where we're at the now, I'm probably quite happy that if we just take the experience, try as best we can to get any results out of the next 3 games. And if we don't qualify, then, to be honest, it's not the end of the world. The whole qualifying for the Champions League was basically our European run for me, to be honest. Getting there, that kind of guaranteed is the same money that we would probably get in a long Europa League run. So for me, it's win-win. If we keep going in Europe, brilliant. If we don't, then we've had a nice wee time in the competition and we can focus back in the league.
Hi, I get it, mate. I get it. Okay. What do you think the majority of the fans will be thinking in that same question, Linda, quickly?
I would suspect it would be the same, if we qualify, it's a bonus, but I think the majority of the fans now want the domestic success this year. If we could get, I hate to say it, but if we could get a treble, Ox, it would be wonderful.
Always, Linda, always. I get that. All right, same question. You, GB?
I would hope the fans don't really take anything for the results, whatever happens, Ox, in the sense if it's all defeats the next 3 games. It's like I say, it is what it is in the Champions League. And as Linda's touched on, the bread and butter is going to be the league campaign this season. It's like I said, we shouldn't be too downhearted if it doesn't go the way we want it to go, Ox. I think, like I say, we've done amazing to get to where we are. and then we regroup and we just carry on in the cup competitions in the league.
Aye, there's a realism amongst our support, isn't there? We're dreamers, we get that, Linda, but there's a realism as well, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And last year, listen, who would have thought we'd have got to that final? It was an absolute amazing run, brought some brilliant nights, Ox, but as GP said, we got to the Champions League and that was a box ticked for us.
Aye. Aye, a big box, considering the whole story, GB, yeah?
Yeah, that's all. Progression. That's what we were looking for. Gerrard's first season, we managed to qualify and done a good group campaign. And it's not to say, again, if we get the opportunity next season that we take it a step further and we learn for this campaign in Champions League. But as some of the questions that were said to Gio in the press conference, we should go out and enjoy it, Ox. We've worked hard to get there, and let's show our qualities. I think that's what you've been touching on, Ox, is that maybe the games that we've seen so far, we've not showed our quality. We've not showed that Europa League spirit, and it would be nice tomorrow night to go out and show some of that spirit and get a wee result. And what I say is, whatever happens after that, then so be it. That's what it's going to be.
Does anybody help for El Papa? Well, Big Stevie seems to have disappeared. I'm a bit concerned about him.
It's probably babysitting, Ox. He probably knew he's got duties now.
Aye. Surrogate breastfeeder. Right, enjoy my big south side evening, big man.
All right, Trips, how are you guys?
All right.
Very well.
Good.
The bookie basher.
That Giles gave me the fear.
Go on then, get it off your chest.
Listening to that interview. I mean, see if we're going to start with a back five tomorrow night, just gives him the incentive. Honestly, we should be starting with a back four tomorrow. And I expected them to do that until I heard them saying King possibly play tomorrow. I know it doesn't mean he'll start, but surely at Ibrox we can't start with a back five.
My problem is, what I said already, Southside, the defensive midfielders get pinned back against your centre halves, mate. You're never getting it. There's too big a gap. That's the downside, the 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, whatever you want to say it is, yeah?
Right, probably have to have played a 3-5-1-1 then, wouldn't it? But just think at Ibrox, and I think the way we set up, we should just go with a 4 and probably do a 4-3-3 and just have a go at them and do what we've done to Napoli, get in their faces, be tight on them, compete and battle, but hopefully try and create more than we created against Napoli in the first half. But you need to get that type of performance tomorrow night, Ox, and I just think starting with a 5, it's negative for me.
I get it. I think Linda's got a different view. What's your rationale, Linda?
I just gave you the team that I thought he was going to start with, and it was the comment about King that kind of swayed it, because I heard that today. But as I said earlier on, after hearing you guys, I was thinking maybe we should just be the 4. I take your point, Southside. I still think that he maybe just wants the more defensive cover. And I don't know whether it's this whole thing about giving them too much respect. I hope he does go with a bit more attacking lineup, because if it's the 4-3-3, I would like to see Sakala, Cholak and Kent being that front three Southside. Because if we can get the ball up to Sakala and Kent even early sometimes, let's have a real go at them.
Who's your front three Southside?
Kent will start, and even though he's been out of form, he knows what Europe's all about. He's got plenty of experience. So for me, Matondo will get parked up in the garage. I don't see him getting started tomorrow. I just think he'll look for a performance for Kent, and he has done it in Europe for us now. And on his day, when he's played, if gets a bit of confidence about him, we know he's a good player. I think heard his interview and all talking about how he speaks to players and how sometimes he doesn't, and you'll hear about it and I'll just deal with 11 that I've picked. And I'm thinking, see if we play a 5, then I think it's going to be hard for us to get up the park, Ox, and you as well playing Alfie, because I don't see how the mentality will be to sit in deep, and when you do knock the ball up, it needs to stick. If you're playing Kolak,
too big a space, mate. That's the
aye,
trouble.
and it's going to be the same as it was at Anfield. 100% going to be the exact same. Except
watching the same movie again, mate.
Aye, except you'll probably not have Tillman on the park, and there'll be somebody else in that position.
You're assuming Tillman's not playing. Stranger things have happened.
Here, he could play in both. If we play a back five and we play three that don't actually go forward, then how are we going to get up the park? You might have to put a Tillman in the midfield that you're hoping to get on the ball, and then he can spring either a Kent or a Cholak through the middle, or a Sakala in Mahid if you're putting them on the park, because you're needing him to go on the ball to try and create. Otherwise, we're just going to sit there, and Liverpool just bring Liverpool on to us all night, and that's not what I want to see from Glasgow Rangers at Ibrox in the Champions League.
It just becomes defence against attack, mate, and you're just going to lose goals, mate. It might be set pieces, it might be shots and ricochets, but you're just going to lose goals. Yeah, they've got goals in their team. So I think you've got to get the ball up the park. Defence, GB, is the best form of attack.
That's it, Oxen, in doing something that you do well. The whole way that we performed against the bigger teams. I mean, I heard Lundstrom's interview the day, and they were going on about some of the lesser teams you played in Europa League. The question was absolutely outrageous, because we beat Dortmund. I mean, that's a mainstay Champions League team, and how we performed against them. I know that's last season, but there's nothing to say, like I says, the more night there, that we've no learned for last week, and Gio can take that into this game this week and say, right, I've learned where we needed to kind of move the ball quicker, put more pace into the team. And I honestly think it might start the kind of same way as what we've seen last season, where we've got Tav run right up the park and be more attacking winger for us the more night. I mean, but again, it just depends. If like Southside states, if he starts with a back five, then I would rather they just kept Cholak on the bench all night, because there's no point putting him into a game like that and risking him. I mean, as well as just keep him safe for the league. If that's the way that Gio's got to be, the more night he's got to be playing it safe. I'd rather put Alfie on and then let Alfie get some match fitness if it came to that.
Southside?
Well, we've got to go up the park, and we've got to try and shut them down with pace and not let them settle on the ball for me. So I just thought he'd start a 4. I'm hoping he starts a 4. I hope he plays a 3 in the middle, and we play 3 up front. And I hope that's the way we do it. Obviously, the 2 wingers will need to come back and defend at times. We get that. They should have to drop back and defend right deep into midfield at times, maybe to shut space. But if we've worked on that sort of shape and plan, then that should happen. But when we've got the ball, we should know what we're doing, and we should know where the spaces that we're looking to exploit. I just don't want him giving the players a negative attitude, and that's what I got from him the day listening to the interview. I was expecting us to come out a wee bit with blood and thunder tomorrow. We've got to, we're at home. And if they picked us off, really, and they did pick us off tomorrow night, we maybe went 2 goals down in 20 minutes. And if it wants to go back to a back five, fair enough. But we should at least start on the front foot and have a go. I don't
think you're going to get blood and thunder for Giovanni's press conferences, but
no, but I'm talking about for the players, Ox. But they've got to go out and want to put on a really good performance tomorrow night and show that we can compete to a point. No, we're miles off the budget, right? We know that, but budgets are budgets, mate. But it's how you set up your team and how you put a plan together.
I don't know if you should mention budgets in this country at the moment.
I know, but I mean, I'll tell you what, I watched a game earlier, and it was Maccabi Haifa against Juventus, and I'll tell you what, they absolutely blew Juventus away the night watching them. And there you go. Juventus looked like Leicester, trying to play slow football and knock it about, and they chased them out of the park, shut them down. And we always talk about pacing your team and that, and that's what all the Champions League teams have got now, plenty of pace. So we've just got to make it hard tomorrow and get in their faces, Ox. What we asked to do last week at Anfield, and we didn't do it. Well, surely we can do it at Ibrox.
I hope so. Linda?
Aye, and Gio was asked about what he learned from the game last week, and it's always, you're a bit better prepared going into the second game. And he did say that they need to approach it differently tomorrow night because they need points. So, so that kind of speaks for itself. It must be a different approach. He says talking about more moments to be dangerous, I think was his phrase. So the thing is, Southside, if he sets up and he has a bit more of a go and he plays a formation that we would all be more kind of attuned to, but we like it better and it doesn't work, well, at least he's tried it. It's got to be better because, as you say, we're playing at home. It's the Champions League. The atmosphere's going to be brilliant. And if we could get an early goal or even get that first goal, you just think about what that'll do for the players as well.
GB with the points make?
Big prizes, Ox. Big prizes.
There you go. Points make prizes. Right, okay. All right, aye. I get where you're coming from, Southside. I think we've got to go. But what have we got to lose? Yeah?
Well, we've all paid good money for the Champions League, right? We know we're up against quality. We put up a decent performance against Napoli. But we didn't really threaten them that much, but we competed. But you're looking at a Liverpool team now that's coming with a few injuries. And they're all talking about in England. We've seen how they can play. Just can't afford to let them play Oxymora. We've got to go out and compete. We've really got to do that. We've beat teams before at Ibrox, maybe with better squads, but they've still been good teams. We can always get a result. It's 11 against 11. And maybe some of them might not turn up. We need 11 players to turn up tomorrow night, 100%. We need 11 players on the park to be near enough at their best. And it's happened a few times in many occasions. So we're just looking for that tomorrow night. And see if we do get beat in the absolute plays after the part, we'll accept it if we've tried to hit a go-ups. But if you're just going to sit in 5 and 3 or 4 and let them run at you all night and McGregor's trying to pull off save after save, then it's just like a humiliation sitting there watching it. If you're not prepared to stand up and fight and try and at least make an effort and try and impose ourselves on them.
Aye, I get it. That's how I think we'll start with Europa League final midfield if Glenn Kamara's fit. Lunda, Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom and Glenn Kamara.
Yeah, and I suppose with Kamara, there's more pace there. If you played Davis, you wouldn't get the same sort of pace. Jack was obviously in Saturday. I don't know if he was maybe playing more like a sort of number 10, wasn't he? We were kind of talking about that at the game on Saturday, and he got himself into a couple of good positions, but I think he's probably better, sort of maybe slightly further back, Ox. And Lundstrom, I think we're waiting for him to kind of catch fire as well on the European front, aren't we? I thought he played better in Saturday too.
Don't get a silly, stupid booking in the first 20 minutes, yeah?
No, but well, he did. He talked about that. Make sure we keep 11 players on the park as well. Aye, it's different if it's a last gasp tackle and you need to make it, Ox. But as you say, no silly bookings. So as I say, that Lundstrom, we're wanting, they all need to play well. Southside is right, but there's certain players that if they can up their game, it'll definitely give us a better chance of getting a good result.
GB.
I agree. The Kamara one, being in midfield, is probably the right decision as well, because he'll help us keep possession. I mean, and that's got to be key as well, that we actually, when we get the ball, that we try and keep a hold of it as long as possible. We don't just do it. I think last week against Liverpool, a lot of time we'd get a breakaway, especially, I don't want to pick on Kent, but we gave the ball to Kent and he went forward and it was a pass into nowhere. There was nobody there, or a couple of players done that. It was just loose passes and it just gave the possession right back. We really need to hold on to the ball a wee bit longer and just think about it, where we're going to play and who's up there, which I think, as I say, there's been wee partnerships starting to form in the team, especially Borna, and if Cholak gets a wee nod, Borna and Cholak together are starting to build a wee kind of understanding there and stuff, and Fashion's probably flying now with all the confidence. So I'm with Southside. Let's get in about them. Same as Yorks, Europa League finalist, midfield, put on a performance. Like I says, winner takes all. There's nothing to lose. I'd rather, like Southside said, we sat in last week and we didn't get embarrassed and we got a 2-0 and we still lost the game. Why not go out tomorrow night and say we lost? If we end up losing 3 or 4, then so be it. But we know we've still got a squad there that can sit in and know that ourselves getting embarrassed. I would much rather see us go out there and put a performance in and show the quality that we've got.
How no go out and win the game, Southside? How no go out and win the game?
Well, that's what I'm hoping that we'll be doing tomorrow. I just think if we play a back 5, I think Sakala gets dropped out the squad, out the 11. I think Arfield will play in beside Jack and Lundstrom. And I think if he does a back 5, that'll put Sakala out the team, if I'm honest, in my opinion. If he plays a back 4, I think Sakala stays in the team. Don't know what you think about that. But either way, I just hope we win tomorrow, mate. That's what I'm looking for, a Rangers win.
If you play the back 5, you're struggling if you play 3 up front to get Sakala in, mate. Yeah.
Well, what I mean is we'll have 3, it'll be 1 and 1. Sakala will just come right out altogether. If we play a back 4, I can see him playing in a 3 up front. But if we play a back 5, I think Arfield will come in, make that the 8, and it'll be Kent and I'd like to say Cholak. I'd like to think he'll play him because I'd like to think to be positive. But if he doesn't and he's playing a back 5 and he's just trying to keep us in the game and his mentality, Gio's mentality, mate, then it'll be Alfie.
All right, get yourselves on mute because we're going to have a tune.
We went to Barcelona, the Rangers for to see, and when we reached the stadium, our hearts filled up with glee. There were so many Scotsmen all ready for the fray. You should have heard old Derry's walk when the Rangers won the day. Oh, Barcelona, oh, don't you cry for me, for the Dynamo they scored 2 goals, but the Rangers they scored 3. When inside the stadium, the likes I'd never seen. All around the terraces they sang of college team. The best centre forward that's in the world today. And when he scored his wonder goal, the cheers were on their way. Oh, Barcelona, oh, don't you cry for me, for the Dynamo they scored 2 goals, but the Rangers they scored 3. Flags and stars were flying high when Wally Johnston scored. And when he scored the second goal, the Ibrox fans they roared. John Clegg, the captain, went up to win the prize. The European Cup Winners' Cup was right before our eyes. Oh, Barcelona, oh, don't you cry for me, for the Dynamo they scored 2 goals, but the Rangers they scored 3. 100,000 Rangers fans thronged the Glasgow streets, and inside old Ibrox Park you couldn't get a seat. The Glasgow Rangers had won their famous day. The year was 1972 in the merry month of May. Oh, Barcelona, oh, don't you cry for me, for the Dynamo they scored 2 goals, but the Rangers they scored 3.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, okay. But Southside, he's got to go, but before he goes, we're going to hear his Rangers bet for tomorrow night. I don't know if the heart rule on the head or the head rule on the heart, Biggie.
The heart will always rule the heat, mate. Draw half time, Rangers full time. There's a simple one.
Right. Come on, you've got another one of your favourites. What have you got for us?
I don't know who's going to be starting. That's the issue. No, I mean, I don't.
The way that Super 6 is going, I'll be selling a big issue.
I was going to do draw half time, Rangers full time, to be honest, because I'm hoping that I'll be about 4 or 5 to 1, something like that, maybe. But if I had to take a plunge, and I think if he starts, I'd love to see Big Cholak get a goal tomorrow. And I'm hoping that we'll win 2-0. There you go.
Oh, 2-0.
That would be wonderful.
So it would, Linda, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would be superb.
Remember, his head, his heart's rolling his head. What was the price of that?
I don't know. I honestly, I hadn't looked, mate. I'll text you and you can tell them later on. I'll have a look.
You're well up, mate. You've got loads of credit in the bank, yeah?
Aye, just need to get a bit more credit for the rest of the punters. They're doing the Super 6. It might not be doing correct scores with goal scorers. And honest, if I was following the Super 6 and then I heard somebody saying there's a correct score with a goal scorer and I hadn't been doing too well, I don't think I'd be bothered myself. So hopefully we'll change it this weekend, alright?
I don't know if we're taking it serious enough, but every time one of your teams loses a goal, people cheer.
Well, we've got to turn it round. I said it was a clean slate, didn't I, after the break, and that's what I wanted for the Rangers, and we've got 2 league wins. So upwards and onwards, mate. Upwards and onwards.
Right, mate, good to speak to you.
Right, no bother. Right, good night and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, Southside.
Night, Southside.
Right, bye, Trips.
Cheers.
Fair play to the big, and he puts himself out where we're at. But a bit of fun, Linda, and he's doing all right, isn't he?
Well, I wouldn't mind that result. 2-0 and Cholak first goal scorer. Yeah, I think that might be a popular bet, because I would imagine it would be, the odds might be quite, not large, but you know what I mean, it'd be worth a tenner or something, I think, Ox.
If that is the case, I can see another cardboard cutout on its way.
Oh. It's already here.
Oh dear. Right, okay. Look, people will question how good the Champions League is for us, but how Ibrox to be in the news and the spotlight and the club to be here, and you do get more coverage when you're in this competition, yeah? It's got to be good for us in some respects, Linda.
Oh, definitely, and as GB said earlier, it's what we wanted. You know, we were all just so delighted when we qualified. The quality of the team, that the group that we got, Oxford, I think there was only one other group that would have been equally as tough. But when you look at the build-up and even just on on BT Sport, the people that are actually doing the presenting, it's the ones that usually do the sort of English teams that are actually doing it. Just all the media coverage. If you listen to obviously we listened to the interview with Gio, all the people that were actually asking the questions, it's not all the usual people. So it's a huge game, two British teams as well. And as I say, it would just be brilliant if we could make a game of it, Ox, and that's all we're looking for, isn't it?
Here, GB.
Yeah, Ox, I mean, a lot of these people are coming up as well. It's new faces through the door of Ibrox, and they'll get to sample the great Ibrox atmosphere tomorrow night, no doubt. I mean, the Bears are going to be charging the team on, and I'm telling you, if it's anything like the atmospheres I experienced last season in at Ibrox in that Europa League run, then I tell you, Liverpool are in for a game tomorrow night. And by the way, they've got a hard game at the weekend as well coming up, so they've got to be a wee bit cagey about tomorrow night. They're not got to be wanting to burn themselves out either. So there's opportunities there the night, Ox, that present themselves. And I think, if between the players putting in a performance, the right formation and the fans, then I'm sure that we can push on for a wee result tomorrow night.
I think Liverpool will be playing Britain's top 2 strikers this week, won't they?
Aye, they will be, mate. Aye. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Absolutely, Ox. Spot on with that one.
It's good to see us back in this arena. I think we're realistic. But obviously, it's Southside used the term, what heart will always rule our head, and he's right when it comes to the Rangers.
Okay, but we always, our expectation level, I think, was probably higher than maybe it should have been because of the run last year. As you quite rightly pointed out as well, you put things into perspective. Our away form wasn't great, even in the Europa League run. But at Ibrox, it was a different ball game, and that's all we're wanting. We want them to go out and have a go. The Napoli game, they were a lot better, but it would be lovely if we could even just score a goal, Ox. I think first and foremost that would be a box ticked. I know 0-0 wouldn't be that bad either. But we would like to get a goal, and if we could maybe go on and sneak a wee win. But we need our big players to step up. The guy Čolak, okay, it's the Scottish Premier League, Ox, but some of his finishing has been absolutely outstanding, hasn't it? That his second goal on Saturday. I was fortunate enough to be at the game, and it got you off your seat, Ox. It was the whole move was just absolutely brilliant, and what a finish.
Aye, I agree. He scored all different kinds of goals, aye. The guy's a finisher, GB, no doubt about it.
Aye, it's amazing when we've been giving him the service, what the difference in his tally marks have been. I mean, I think what game was it? It was one of the first Champions League qualifier games. We had him up front, and that's when he got all his criticism. But we didn't give him any service. And yet now, when you look at the goal tally, with the amount of service he's getting, Borna, Fashion the other day there. I mean, he's getting a proper understanding of the team. And like I says, the more night, the excitement of being on the Champions League stage, Ox, it will put fire in his belly to go and prove a point that he is a top striker in Europe, Ox. And by the way, it's the same with Kent. As much as he was bad last week, Ox, I mean, he had a couple of good turns, and I was thinking to myself, right, go and show it, what you're made of. So, aye, it will be exciting, and like I says, Čolak deserves his chance tomorrow night to go and show his qualities, mate.
I must have blinked and missed that last week.
Well, to be fair, it was all of 2 chances that he had done his beautiful turn knocks, and apart from that was it, mate. So, if you'd blinked, you would have missed the two.
No, I must have just happened to look away at that time when I missed it. Yeah.
With Ryan Kent, I don't know. His body language is. I mean, he's not the most kind of a outgoing a guys anyway, isn't he? He's got quite.
Doesn't seem to be. He's an introvert, isn't he? An introvert.
He absolutely is. And he's he's totally the opposite for Fashion Sakala, and also even people that like Antonio Čolak. You just see his face just lights up, etc. So Ryan Kent quite often walks about like that, even when he's playing well. So, but you just wonder what's going through his mind just now, Ox, as well. He obviously is quite off form, as we all know, and he can do better. And you just wonder what's going through his mind just now. Contract situation.
I get it. The contract's the contract. That's modern football, but I've been saying it for a while. It just looks like a guy void of confidence. I don't know what you think, GB.
Aye, it definitely, his decision making shows you that he's been void of confidence, Ox. There's been times where when he first came to Rangers, they same kind of situations he's been getting into recently, this season especially, that he wouldn't even think about it. He would just charge on and beat a player and take a shot on. Even during the 55 season, he was hitting shots for everywhere. So again, there's something lacking there, and it's probably, like I says, it's just I thought even after the Hearts game that we maybe have kicked him on a bit, especially with getting that goal. But you never know. Like I say, tomorrow night he's playing against his ex-team. Maybe he wants to make a wee statement at Ibrox and prove a point, Ox, and no better stage than the Champions League today, that, mate.
You're right. You're right. Football can change in the blink of an eye. Hopefully I get to see it this week, Linda. You know. Fashion Junior. Yeah. As you said, a completely different character for Ryan Kent, yeah? Everybody loves Fashion. Even when he's rubbish, we love Fashion, don't we? You know, he's got this personality that I'll go as far to say it's second to none, isn't it?
Yeah. To be honest with you, Ox, I thought in the summer he might have been on his way, his way out at Ibrox, because it kind of became a bit clear that Gio just didn't fancy him. As the sort of season, we get into the season and you were looking at the transfer window closing, he hadn't featured. And you just wondered if he would go. And by all accounts, there might have been some interest, but the club have says that they had no intentions of selling him. He did say when he was interviewed, he's very honest that he prefers to play number 9, striker, but he knows he's not going to get that position. So he's trying to work hard, and he admitted that was the gap, that the right-sided, midfielder forward position, and he's trying to work hard to nail that down. And good luck to him, because he didn't do himself any harm on Saturday. But one thing about Fashion is, if he does play tomorrow night, Ox, he must remember to do his defensive duties. He needs to track runners when he's been asked to do that.
You're here. He's such a nice fella, GB. He reminds me a lot of myself.
He's got the same smile, Ox. He's definitely got the same smile, mate. He is such a likeable character, Ox, and he's never once came into a game and for me and no worked hard. If anything, it's just been purely down to no maybe understanding tactics at times and stuff like that. And as Linda's touched on, no understanding he has to track back and chase that man. There's been a lot of times in some games in the past where he's standing and there's an attack going on and he's just standing doing nothing. He can't have that tomorrow night. And again, he just has to take the performance he done on Saturday into this game tomorrow night, work hard, because that right-hand position has been up for grabs for a long time, and we've been needing somebody in there to go and grab it with two hands and own it. And if he does, if he puts in a decent enough performance, I mean, at the end of the day, we need to remember it's Liverpool tomorrow night, but as long as he puts in hard work tomorrow night, then he can hold on to that position and hopefully push his own in that, because there's nobody else really showed any appetite to steal that right-hand side for us yet, Ox.
Did you hear the list of players that's played in that position, Linda, in the last few years? It was frightening, wasn't it?
Yeah, I listened to it. Unbelievable. Back to people that, obviously Daniel Candeias, everybody thinks that we've not replaced him. He didn't always play brilliant there, for what I remember as well, but he probably was more, a wee bit more consistent. It's a phenomenal amount of players, and it's quite incredible, Ox, that we haven't actually nailed it down, isn't it, and went out and got somebody. When you think about in years gone by, we would have just have done that. But it's an incredible amount. I think I remember you said Shea Ojo was one of them, and I'd forgotten that he even played for us. I mean, it's.
But we also, once we never said last night, Greg Stewart came on our roof.
Right.
Jamie Murphy. Yeah.
Jordan Jones as well, Ox.
Jordan Jones, you could go on and on and on. It's unbelievable. Players that's played that. I don't know what it's known. Me and Fox.
It's crazy. It's that we've never. I mean, the amount of talent that we've been searching for, Ox, that we've never actually got somebody that's actually been consistently on that wing. It's even that 55 season. I can't even remember somebody doing that wing that was holding that position. Maybe Hadji to a certain extent, maybe that held that kind of position, but even at that, he was more like playing in the box. Where if you mean it was like a tight free in the midfield, he wasn't really playing like a winger. So, so it's a strange one.
We just don't see me. Right, come and join us. Use your thoughts. Big game tomorrow night. 0141 356 1972. Just the big South Sides text me and draw half time, Rangers full time 16-1, Colac 2-0, 325-1. Wonder.
Oh, I'll be putting £1 on that. Might go for 50p.
Bridge will be getting $1,000 out of the Swiss account.
That's some odds, isn't it? I'm definitely going to back that. That would be. Imagine that came up.
Get yourself a wee cruise, Linda. Obviously, you've not been on holiday for 2 weeks.
I know. I'm starting to get a cabin fever. Ox, do you guys think that there's an absolute curveball out there that you could? I mean, that there's no way he's going to play Alfie and Cholak together, is it? I mean, that's no happened. I mean, that's just not going to happen, is it?
I don't think so, Linda. I would like to see it happen domestically and see what it takes us. Yeah, but I don't see it tomorrow night. I think he'll go with Pride and Interested, and I think Gio's nature is to be conservative, but he wasn't conservative at home to Leipzig. I mean, we blew them away, and obviously they get the goal, but it could have. I think we got one chopped half. Big Arrival missed a set, and it could have been 4 or 5-0 at half time.
Yeah.
We're just hoping for an arm night like that, but it's up to the players to perform. A guy could be big for us tomorrow night if he gets back and gets his self-motor. Could be the skipper. He seems to pop up with something special sometimes in these nights. I don't know why. He's just one of these guys, GB.
Yep, Mr. James Tavernier. It's like you touched on Leipzig, just the way he charged forward and got us that kind of first goal as well. And he's been lacking that kind of whip on his crossing as well, Ox. I don't know if you've noticed that. He's not had the same kind of deadly cross into the box or even himself been in the box, and he's put away chances. Don't get me wrong, he put that penalty away brilliant at the weekend, and hopefully that helps him. But there's not been the wee spark that we've seen in the Europa League run. Don't get me wrong, you're probably on a high the way everyone was running that campaign, but it would just be good for him to show it tomorrow night at Ibrox against Liverpool, isn't it? Everybody watching, and I'm getting all the plaudits. The skipper leading us to another great win.
I think he's been carrying an Auckland. I definitely do, and I think that's affected some of his performances, and sometimes even the way he's crossed and kicked the ball, if I'm being honest. And obviously, if you're not 100% fit, some players can play through it and it doesn't bother them, and other players are a wee bit ginger with the best intentions,
Yeah, totally agree, Ox. I think he was definitely carrying a knock, and I think it came out in one of the pressers before one of the games that he was a doubt for a match, and I think he probably played when he maybe shouldn't have. But he doesn't look as if he's carrying an injury now, Ox. I know last week at Anfield he was one of a number of players that just didn't play well. But he definitely looked back to full sort of fitness, and he was quite sharp at the weekend as well. I take GB's point about maybe the crosses. He got himself into a couple of real good goal shooting opportunities at the weekend as well, Ox. He was more inside a couple of times. So he looks sharp again, and as GB says, hopefully he can drive everybody on to get a good result tomorrow night. And maybe Tav for a penalty would be a good bet as well.
Aye. You got something to ask, GB?
Hi, Ox, you mentioned about curveballs. I mean, there's a bit of me that's not so much worried, but Gio seems to like Tillman, and it wouldn't surprise me that that's the kind of curveball, maybe possibly even on the left. Was it no the left hand side that he got his goal for against PSV at home? You know, when he got that header, he was kind of more on the left for us that night, so it wouldn't surprise me if he tried to put him up there next to Cholak tomorrow night. But again, that's about the only curveball I can really think of that he likes to chuck in every now and then, especially last week at Liverpool. I couldn't believe Tillman was on the park for that right hand side last week.
If you're talking about curveballs, if Gio picks him tomorrow, he'll end up with him.
That's the thing, Ox, isn't it? Gio's just got the fans back on side, and there's a bit of a feel-good factor back into the whole squad about form and all the rest of it, and I really hope he does kind of listen to what's out there. At the end of the day, he's the expert, but I mean, the more night, if he rocks up there with a 5 at the back, it has got to deflate a lot of folk.
No, I get it. I won't listen. I'm not a fan of the 5 at the back for the reasons I've stated, but I understand his thinking. His thinking is then he can get the fullbacks forward, but you've got to do that way, London. If you don't, you just end up you're totally outnumbered in the midfield.
Yeah, and as you've said as well, we end up just camped in, don't we? And then you've got too many players actually back. And the thing about last week as well, Borna and Tav, as you said, just didn't get up the park at all, but they never had any runners in front of them either, Ox. There was in Tav, particularly Tav, he couldn't clear his lines either. No. But they were looking for somebody to make the run. Tillman didn't offer. He offered nothing in that regard. But certainly they seemed to get camped in. Borna maybe wasn't quite as bad on his side.
I think Tillman swapped shirts at the end, and his shirt went right into the frame, didn't it? He didn't have to wash it.
No. I mean, when you think about the goal, the incident that led to Liverpool's penalty, it was Kent, obviously, we've touched on this a few times, that gave the ball away, but Tillman was up beside him and didn't offer anything to Kent either. They were both culpable for that. So, no, I agree with GB. I think it would be a curveball that might just go absolutely so wrong for Gio if he does decide to start that young man tomorrow night.
Let's hear from me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, one of the biggest games we've had historically. I mean, it's England's most successful club against Scotland's most successful club at Ibrox. Doesn't seem to be a lot of interest, GB.
No, not so much in their record book, Socks, for some reason. But I noticed the Talk Sport and all the rest of it have been banging the drum about Liverpool a wee bit more. But aye, at the end of the day, it's two juggernauts going at it tomorrow night, Oxen. I think you've even touched on it, that we've never had a competitive game at Ibrox against Liverpool, which is unbelievable considering the history of both clubs and stuff like that we've never had a competitive game against them. But welcome to, hopefully we give them a warm welcome tomorrow night and we show them what's what in Scotland, Ox.
Here. If it's banging drums, we'll win, Linda. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's been a lot of chat about how they're not playing as well. That sometimes concerns me a bit, because we won't take much notice of that, Ox, because I think Gio was asked about that and he just dismissed it right away. They've got a talented squad. Their bench, the amount of money they've paid for their players. But it is interesting that they've got a big game coming up at the weekend against City. So, and I think there was chat that he might have rested some players potentially tomorrow night anyway, but he's not got any choice now, Ox, because of the injuries that they've got. So we will see people starting that possibly wouldn't in a normal game, but they've still got some amount of talent, haven't they? We've got to be really mindful of their forwards as well. They've obviously got Salah. He's not supposedly playing as well as he usually does. Be careful what you wish for there. And they brought on Bobby Firmino at the weekend, and he scored as well. So, they're still very, very talented. But if you were to choose a time to play them, it probably would be just now to give yourselves a bit of a chance of getting some sort of result,
I think they're only 1 point ahead of Aston Villa.
That's right, so they are. There you go.
Okay. Come and give your team. Come and give your thoughts. Come and give your predictions. GB, the floor's theirs, eh?
That's it, Ox. It'd be really interesting to see if the rest of the Bears out there, especially our local callers, I think there's going to be a 5 at the back. That's going to be an interesting one. And if Cholak gets a nod, I mean, the boy has done enough to hopefully put himself on that stage tomorrow night. But again, stranger things have happened, as we've said.
Aye, he scored goals in Europe already as well, Linda, and big goals, and go to the Champions League. I know it was a tap-in, but somebody's got to put the ball in the net, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Home and away against PSV. You're right. And he also scored in the home game against USG, didn't he? So 3 goals in Europe, and then obviously he's just tearing up the Premier League. The thing about him is that a lot, folk are saying how will he feel if he doesn't get to start tomorrow night, but he strikes me as the sort of guy that will listen to what the manager's got to say, and I think every player wants to start and probably thinks that that they would throw their hat into the ring. I don't think he's the sort of guy that would go in the huff or anything like that. Ox, he doesn't strike you as being that type of player. I think he would just accept the manager's decision and then be ready to come on it if he gets his chance. But I really don't think that will happen tomorrow night. I mean, we've been wrong before, but I can't see him not starting.
Do you think he plays for the first ever?
Yeah, definitely. I cannot see him not starting tomorrow night.
Ox, can I get you a wee refresher of your bench for last week against Liverpool and see if there's anybody listed there that you think is actually going to get a start tomorrow night?
Aye, go on, mate.
So the bench for last week was McCrory, McLaughlin, Ridvan, Jack, Cholak, Matondo, Kamara, Wright, Sakala, Arfield and Devine.
I think Ryan Jack will start tomorrow night. I think Cholak will start tomorrow night. I think there's a chance for Kamara. And I think Fashion could start. There you go, Linda. Half a team, eh?
Yeah, that's the 4 that I would pick, just depending on that formation. But that's the 4 I would say would come in. I would agree with you, Ox, on that.
But a young boy Devine getting a new contract there, eh? Fair play to the ladder.
Yeah, by all accounts, he's very highly rated at Ibrox. Just seen now as the backup for Tav. So yeah, good luck to him. And when you were talking about, somebody mentioned about King. There's a bit of chat about interest down south. I mean, it's all paper talk. But Leon King's contract's up in 2024, Ox. I would have thought that we would have been maybe trying to extend that. Maybe still early doors, but who would have thought Leon King, 18-year-old, playing Anfield? That was a tremendous achievement for him, wasn't it?
Never looked at a place, did he? Never.
No, definitely not.
Comes with good stock here, Leon. Comes with good stock.
I think that's why the interest is ramped right up on him, Oxa, because I mean when you're going into a game against all that talent of Liverpool, and I mean, it was one bad touch with the penalty. It was just unlucky just because he was playing against a great striker. But I mean, being able to manage the game as best as he could, then that alerts all these teams down south because they know that they can take a chance and not spend millions upon millions for a boy like that. I mean, it just shows you that's what the Champions League brings. When you're showing that you can play at that level, then again, that's how it helps the club in the long term.
Well, he done it there, and he done it in the second half, playing it right back, and Ajax. If you think back, Linda, He done okay, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And I don't know, do you think centre back is going to be his position?
My concern is he's very young.
Yeah.
And he's not maybe reached, obviously, his full build.
Yeah.
But going forward, I don't think he's. If you stand him up against the two Liverpool centre backs tomorrow night and look at the physicality, the boy's a bit short, but he doesn't seem to let himself down, and he naturally goes for everything. Seems brave. He seems comfortable on the ball. Definitely better on the right side. I could see him playing it right back if he stays at that building, because he's got pace, and he's not a bad technical footballer. But if he develops and he gets a bit more physical, he's definitely a right-sided centre back for me.
Yeah. And the difficulty for that is that Golson plays every game, doesn't he? He just, even in the cup games, Golson's always the one that plays. So he's going to, have a battle there. And it's interesting as well that a lot of people were upset that we let Balogun go, but I think they always had it in their plans that they would like to give King more time, and that's the way that it's kind of turned out, isn't it? We love Leon Balogun. He loved being at the club, etc. But he was always playing on the left-hand side, and he's right-footed too. But I kind of like the fact that we are giving King the pitch time, rather than keep somebody who's, older, I think.
Aye. Listen, Big Balogun goes with our best wishes.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Big future in the game, I think. GB.
Yeah, Ox, the times he has came in and stuff like that, you can tell there's bits still learning there. There's still a lot to progress on, but overall, what I say, he's putting in some of the performances he's put in, especially that I says against Liverpool the other week there. I thought it was fantastic, and I don't think it got enough coverage, to be honest, Ox, personally for me, because when I was watching the game, I was down south and I was watching it with a Liverpool supporter, and he was like, he says, what age is he? And I couldn't believe that boy was 18-year-old playing against Liverpool like that. And he's like, I says, that's outstanding. You know, and it just shows you that we have got talent there. It's just, unfortunately, in our league, it's so important that we win games week in, week out, that we just kind of keep progressing these boys quicker. But I think, like I says, if the boys starting to see a lot of his other teammates starting to sign on for longer contracts and stuff like that, then you never know. As long as they see a pathway to that first team, then hopefully we can progress them, because as Big John Lundstrom's touched on, he's playing in the Champions League. He's probably never got to get that opportunity if he was playing for Sheffield United like he was. So this is the place to be. If you want to play at the top table, then our league might not be the best, but at least we can offer, like I say, either Champions League football or Europa League football.
I think you're right. I think some guys will need to pinch yourself. They're playing the Champions League. Obviously, McGregor and Stephen Davis and that, they'll take it in stride. But I don't imagine for a minute James Tavernier, Connor Golson, Lundstrom might have thought he was coming in for that. Yeah, potentially, because he came in after we won the league the first season, so that must have been a name. So he might be thinking that. Maybe even Ryan Kent, when he joined us London, when I thought we'd have been playing the Champions League, which we were miles off it.
Okay, I mean, we just wanted to get a wee bit more sort of a reputation in Europe, didn't we? We just wanted to get back into that stage. We never thought that we would get a final so quickly when you think about where we were when Stevie G came in. Kachina and everything else going out in qualifiers, etc. We just the champions.
Don't mention that final. I'm still scared. I don't know if it's a game that scared me or Jaffa and these speedos. I don't know. So.
Oh no. Sometimes when somebody does mention the Europa League final, it still kind of irks us, doesn't it? What a chance that was. But no, because I don't think any of us really, had any thoughts about the Champions League. And obviously, our run and what we've done for the coefficient, the fact that we've got two, we can have two teams there. Hopefully that will still continue. But we never thought in any way, shape or form we'd be back in the Champions League so quickly. And it is a different stage, Ox, even from when we were there years ago, isn't it? You know, when under different managers that we had.
Moved on a wee bit, and it's just, you know, the top teams have got, it's like global stars now, and it's just, there's no domestic teams as such. I mean, take Liverpool, their goalie's Brazilian, you know. You know, their centre backs. How many Englishmen played against us last week? 2, was it? 2?
That's right. Yep, aye. One off the bench as well.
Yeah, I know, but aye. So things have changed on. Football's changed. I mean, we're not a team full of Scotsmen like we were when we went to Barcelona. No, things have moved on, you know. But aye. I suppose it's the world that's changed, Linda. The world's changed, yes?
Oh, the world's gone mad. The world's gone crazy. But, I mean, it is just the finances, and when you think about, obviously, back in the day when we'd probably so-called better players as well, Ox. We never really set the heather alight in the Champions League then either, didn't we not? You know, the first year of the competition, we did really well. We should have got to the final. But there was times where we never even get through the qualifiers. So,
some disasters, AEK Athens.
Aye.
Sparta Prague. Was it Sparta Prague? And then
Malmo as well.
Malmo last year, and Malmo and before Ali's first season, manager. And then we go through. We never really competed. We got some downs. I mean, against good sides, that Juventus side that beat us, they were a top side. You know, Del Piero, what a player.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't even the parachute into these other competitions either. No. You were out, and that was you. You'd know European football after one game, one tie, home and away. But the gulf in terms of quality and just the financial clout now is as big as it's ever been, Ox, and you just can't compete. Well, it's not that you can't compete. You can compete on the field when you know, in terms of your performance, but you can't compete financially in terms of the quality of player. You know.
Listen, we're one of the biggest clubs in the world and one of the smallest leagues in the world. Geography, that's all it is. Yeah. Just unfortunate, but you have to play with the cards you're dealt, GB.
Yeah, Ox, it's as what it is. Our league is what it is, and to be honest, that's probably, like say now you were saying last week with the team, there was a lot of stray passes and stuff like that. Was they quick enough? You think about it, when we're playing in the league, we've got probably a lot of time on the ball. When Rangers make a pass, they can take a touch, they can turn and look, and then maybe make another pass. But when they're playing against Liverpool and Napoli and all that, as soon as the ball's played, and I was watching Liverpool, as soon as they play the ball, I mean, some of the boys that I've seen Liverpool play, you're like, oh God, how is he got to be able to control it? But they were, as soon as the ball came to them, they controlled it and moved. And that's where I think our team have probably learned for that last week, that as soon as we make a pass, it's got to be pass. It's kind of be pass, touch, pass, look, you know, that rest of it. We've got to really speed it up. And I think that's what caught a lot of us out last week, was just how quick the game was.
Can you run back past me again? Pass, quick. What was it?
I thought that was a dance.
I thought he was on Strictly. I thought he was one of the judges on that Strictly.
It was a computer game cheat. Pass, up, down, left, right.
Rangers Radio meets Strictly Come Dancing.
I think it was at FIFA 23. I was sitting playing with Ryan Jack.
No, what you doing your spare time's up to yourself, GB.
I just like I say, I think the speed. I think a lot of our players have kind of been woken up to how quick the game can be. As much as we've had the experience in Europe, that last week, some of the play that you seen Liverpool do was just, they are lightning. They're lightning fast sometimes, Ox, and you can.
They're all athletic. They're all fast, and that's what gets you when you're paying top dollar to bring in one or two players. That's the Klopp philosophy, and it just one or two max, and it seems trying to build and build and build. And obviously this year it's not went well for him in the league, and hopefully we can continue that further tomorrow night, Linda.
Yeah, absolutely, Ox. I mean, one or two players can make a big difference. When you think about even our signings this year, I think that guy Lawrence has been a bit of a miss for us, because I think he brings something different as well, doesn't he? A kind of an attacking threat as well, but he can put himself about, and he likes to put in a tackle as well. But as we said earlier on, I mean, tomorrow night, if we do sort of lose the ball, we need to make sure we get back into shape as well. We also need to make sure that we just do the basics right, don't we? A 10-yard pass has to go definitely to a Rangers player. Don't give
throw it down the line. Don't get away. Throw it down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said earlier, there was a couple of times Tav tried to play the ball inside, and they were just winning all of those sort of types of passes. Put it down the line, get our runners on it. But as I say, they do all have to step up, and everybody will have to play well. I'm assuming that he's just automatically think McGregor's the number one goalie now, and that it's just without question now that he starts.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he's number two, he's the best in the world. Number two in the world, isn't he?
There was the press conference.
To see the number one if he's number two.
What a guy, eh? God.
Linda, the press conference, I kind of alluded to that now saying you have to pull a player aside and have a certain conversation. I'm probably stirring the pot a wee bit here, but I think Gio's had a wee word with John McLaughlin, and not so much said that Alan's got to be the number one now, but probably just said, look, I'm going to give Alan a try and see if we can try and balance the defence a bit more, trying not to hurt his feelings, obviously, because they did give John McLaughlin his chance, but since
he didn't care about hurting my feelings.
No, he did not. No, that Old Firm game, that's for sure. But you can see when Alan's came back in, and see even last week against Liverpool, see the amount of shouting that Alan was doing. That's what I want to see. I want him to see telling Golson, you sort yourself out, you get yourself organised. And the same with Borner sometimes needs a wee blast every now and then, and that gets his game into order. So, fantastic to see the defence back to what I recognise, which was what I wanted with the same kind of partnership as Hollander and Golson had. It was just fantastic, that the way they communicated with each other and controlled the ball and stuff. So I'm hoping that wee defensive partnership now is Ben Davis, Golson, Tav, Borner and McGregor can be the solid foundations for us going forward this season.
I just think that for me, I understand the logic behind the John McLaughlin one. I don't think we're all surprised. In fact, I think a lot of people, and myself included, we thought that the Scottish Cup final was the swan song, Linda.
Yeah, definitely, Ox. The thing about John McLaughlin is, I wasn't sure what he was going to be like, because I don't think we actually seen enough of him. He played in the cup games, and albeit he did really well against them in the semi-final, but we hadn't seen him in a sustained sort of number of games. And also last year, Alan did, his standards did drop. I think that's fair to say, and he made a sort of really uncharacteristic mistakes as well. So everybody was just thinking, is it time for Alan to go? And all this thing talks about he doesn't come for cross balls and etc. etc. But this year, when Alan wasn't in the team, we were still losing goals. So it possibly wasn't always down to Alan in terms of the way that we were defending, I just think, as GB says, it looks a lot steadier in there. Whether or not Ox, this will be his last season, and we'll need to go and invest in a goalkeeper, because I don't think anybody would be that confident of John being our number one. And it's no disrespect to the guy, Ox.
That ship might have sailed, Linda, unfortunately for him.
I think so, Ox. I think so.
And he seems like a smashing guy, I know, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And they've obviously given Robbie McCrory the new contract, so it'll be interesting to see how that happens, how that turns out for him, and what happens with McCrory, because he surely needs to play more football as well, because he's not a young guy anymore, isn't he? Not.
It'll be interesting to see who starts. And I know we're jumping ahead, but it'll be interesting to see who starts next Wednesday.
Yeah, in the cup match. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Aye.
But we've got a lot of football to play then.
Yeah.
People might be in a better mood now. Last few minutes, they'll want to come and join us. What do you think, GB?
I think we've all done something wrong, Linda. I don't think anybody's wanting to talk to us tonight.
I know. It would be nice to hear people. I'm enjoying the chat tonight, but it would be nice to hear maybe even one more caller coming in.
I'm glad I kept that receipt for old Davey's birthday card. He can't be about because he's no phoned in, Linda, when you're on.
I'm really quite disappointed, and I'm feeling quite hurt, actually, Ox. But don't tell him.
Maybe he's away delivering the milk tray tonight. You never know.
If David delivered your chocolates, there'd only be one left in the box, I think.
It would be the coffee cream that was still left.
No, Turkish delight. He wouldn't eat that. Aye.
I did enjoy the passion last night, Ox. I was listening to the show, and obviously you touched on the kind of build up to the game tomorrow night as well. And it was, I mean, you did fling in that question to the right side and stuff like that, and it was really good. It created a good bit of debate, saying that have we finally kind of got to that player that's probably going to hold on to that for a good long while. You hope, you mean, but. The worry is, I think Southside touched on it, the worry is that Fashion gets dropped tomorrow after having a fantastic couple of games. And you don't want that to stop. You want the boy to continue. It's the same with Cholak. You're in a hard on a rock place. You want to protect him for the league. You want him to keep scoring the goals. But he does deserve his chance in the Champions League.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I would have started with Alfie. I'm sort of contradicting myself a bit here. I understood. I would have made that decision last week. But I never started Tillman. And I would have maybe another body in there, and Kent had a free role for me. That would have been it. And see what it takes. Is I think I would have played Ryan Jack or Kamara, depending on fitness. And, with me legs in there, I couldn't understand myself. I just couldn't get it. But it's gone now. We have to look forward. But Cholak, I've got him starting tomorrow night. At least let it be Alfie now that I've said that one.
I mean, I think if Alfie starts, we all probably get the reasoning behind it to a certain degree, and it will depend on what the formation is at the back as well, Ox. Alfie's, he's turned up in the big games in Europe for us on numerous occasions. So, he's not a bad other striker to have. We know that. But it's at home, and it's just because Cholak he's on fire, and if you want a chance to fall to somebody, you would want it to be him, because as I said, he's just scoring goals for fun just now. I don't know about you guys, but I do think Cholak's kind of link-up plays improved as well.
Without a doubt. Yeah. He played the ball to Kent last week, and he played it to Borna. All right, it was a bit of a ricochet, but he wasn't leading the line. He was coming deep, getting it, and trying to get people involved. And then when he spins, he's arriving late, and you've seen that with that header for the Kent cross.
Yeah.
I think Arfield was in front of him one day, so he made the run to get there.
Yeah. And it's probably something that they've been working on with him as well. And and players listen to what's going on. He knows he'll know Alfie's strengths, and he probably, it's something that he needs to add to his game, maybe to get the nod ahead of him in this type of match. So it'll be something that he's been working on. We've not seen a finisher like that for a long time at Ibrox, and it was a joy to watch. As I said to you, that second goal on Saturday, it just gets you off your seat. And they were talking about him not scoring away from home domestically, but he put that to bed with the 2 goals against Hearts. So No, I think he's a cracking player, and one signing at least that we've got right anyway so far, Ox.
And he also scored against Livingston. Definitely a good goal chopped off it.
Of course, so he did. Absolutely.
You know, aye. There's a lot to like about him. All different kinds of goals, GB. And I didn't know if he was going to be that kind of player, but that header last week, that header against Hearts, it was a fantastic effort, mate.
Aye, that's the bit I didn't know about him, Ox. I thought he was kind of a poacher, but see, he's got that kind of class about him to get up and place the ball into the back of the net. He knows he doesn't have to put hundreds of power behind it. He knows just to sometimes just glance it across. And I think he's had that a couple of times. I can't remember if there's been another header that I think was it maybe Livingston as well, that he kind of just that he wasn't far away with a header as well. But he's got that in his game, and like you says, we've seen the kind of the link-up play he's bringing into the game. That goal with Borner, the ricochet, being there in the right place at the right time. Same with Tillman against PSV away. Tillman's there, just slots it to him. Didn't panic, didn't want to blast it, just placed it perfectly into the back of the net. So he's a cool, calm, composed guy. And as he said, he's in interviews, he's hungry for goals. So, I mean, you can't beat that.
I think he could do himself a favour, Linda, and get the part a wee bit better groomed.
Oh goodness, I know. Oh yes.
He don't get hair out of place, has he?
I know, but he's got a great head of hair, hasn't he? He certainly has, and he's just this kind of, as you say, well groomed, and he speaks so well. His English is really very, very good.
When I first heard him, when I seen him, I shut my eyes and I thought it was Fox after a few vodkas.
Fox has got a similar hairstyle.
Oh, it depends what one he has, because he changes it. He's got such a mind as with Fox, you know.
Get Fox.
The dress is the same as well.
To be fair, I don't know if Cholak can afford some of the gear Fox wears.
We know where he shops, Fox. He's got good taste.
I'll not tell you his latest garment. It's a cracker, but it wouldn't be fair.
Oh, go on, tell us.
No, I couldn't. I'm sworn to secrecy. It's made my life's worse. Maybe one night.
It's not got a big zip in the front of it, has it?
It might have. If we win tomorrow night, I might tell the world. There you go.
Can't wait.
Well, I've reached that time of the evening. Thanks to Southside. Davey's dumped you, Linda.
I'm absolutely devastated. I can't believe it. He must be on holiday. Did not say he was going on a cruise or something like that.
Don't try and make excuses, Linda. You're dumped, that's it.
I know. Well, broken hearted, but I'll survive.
That stays on, doesn't it, GB? That stays on.
That's it. I think they've all went on a cruise the night.
I think they might have been cruising somewhere else, mate. They might have been team getting beat.
Aye, possibly, mate, possibly.
Obviously, there's something else on tonight.
Saving their passion for tomorrow night, Ox.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to put the twos on the spot. GB, who's it going to go?
Oh, it's going to go both teams to score and Rangers 2-1.
Oh, Linda?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers, and I'm going to say Cholak and Tav.
I'm going. Cholak to score first and Rangers to win 2-0. Get a tenner on it.
Oh,
brilliant!
God,
Superb.
Big Southside. He'll be smoking the £10 notes tomorrow night.
Living dangerously, Ox there. Living dangerously, I like it.
Aye. Listen, last word for your good self, Linda.
Yeah, great. It was a great show. I know we didn't get very many callers apart from South. Well, we got one South Side, but I really enjoyed the chat with yourself, and it was good being on with GB. So really enjoyed it, and can't wait for the game tomorrow night, Ox. Just please, Rangers, go out, put a good performance in, and get us Get us the 3 points.
Yeah. GB?
Yeah, just to echo what Linda was saying there. Great to be on with Linda tonight, and great chat, great points, Ox, that you're throwing out to us tonight. And like I says, onward to tomorrow for a Rangers win.
Yeah, thanks to you two, thanks to Southside, thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals, giving themselves their time up for Rangers Radio. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with a pre-match show building up to a famous Rangers victory. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Take it away, Old School Blue.
See them march on, marching on through the years of history. They've sailed on high, for the jersey they will do or die. Fight for right, play the game with a badge of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. See them march on, and as high as they fly before you, loyal and true, on the way to cheer the boys in blue. Follow they will, marching on to the songs of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. See them march on, and as high as they fly before you, loyal and true, on the way to cheer the boys in blue. Follow they will, marching on to the songs of